Welcome to the Create with Katrina Julia show by Fit Life Creation, where we talk all the things on wellness, faith, marketing, business, and travel to create a life and business you love. I've been there, friend. I've walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and bondage to freedom, along with transformation in every area of my life. I'm right here with you, walking along on my own path to creating. So tune in so that you learn how to create a life and business you love, hands-on. Let's create it. Content-cation and or creation done by the sun and the sea. So in case you are wondering, Katrina, what is in your content creation program done for you by the sun and sea? It involves a strategy sesh for the brand or the creator, 5 steps to launch, a 90-day roadmap, 10xing social media with 3+ tools, 30+ pieces of content, including reels that are done in video with trends, with voiceovers, and with templates in Canva that you can repurpose for YouTube, social curator, and an incredible AI social media manager to help create captions and hashtags for days, including auto publishing access for 30+ days, weekly rounds of approvals, and monthly to quarterly to annual options. And additional options include scheduled and posted for you, and or coming away with me to create content with me like a boss on a contentcation that's coming up, and or us creating one together. If a content done for you program and or contentcation interests you, send an email at info@fitlifecreation.com, and you can see all the details for the retreats as well at fitlifecreation.com/retreats. So let's create it. Welcome to my created snapshot for October, fall into October, and 90 days to 2024. If you are not yet subscribed to my email list, what are you waiting for, friend? I share so much on ways to create it with tips, tools, and tech that you are missing out. I promise you. So your 7-minute or less snapshot. I get it. Finding ways to simplify and amplify ways to create it is not for the faint of heart. When we become creators to CEOs, it requires transformation from the inside out. Craving creating community and cash? I got you. 90 days to 2024. Does anyone else feel like you were literally just sitting down, possibly in January, and outlining your vision and your goals for the year, and then you blinked and it's fourth quarter? Let's create it with a snapshot. So take this snapshot however you like, whether you want to mentally do it if you're driving, and or later you want to sit down, listen, pause, ponder, and journal. It will give you so much clarity. Number 1, what are you grateful for in 2023? I keep a running list of 100+ items on my phone, in my journal, of the things that I am grateful for continuously. It is so easy for our mind and our brains to default to negativity. It's what we've been often trained to. Depending on how we grew up, depending on the culture, depending on who and what is around us, it's so easy for us to focus on what is not working. And what I've learned is to resist the desire to simply focus and spiral on what's not working, but to assess all the things in my life in all the areas, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and all the things that are working, while yes, reflecting on what isn't working, how to shift, how to change from the inside out. But when we take a holistic approach and when we radically focus on gratitude and focus on what is pure, lovely, just, and praiseworthy, like Philippians 4:8, so much changes for us to really, really see things as they are and not allow us to spiral into doom and gloom. Number two, list out your progress in 2023 in all areas. The beginning of 2020, I really challenged myself to start celebrating. You guys, nothing is big or small. Nothing. It's all a win. It's all progress. Whether you took time to listen to this podcast and write things down, or whether you showed up on Oprah as a guest on Oprah today, it is all radically amazing because the person that showed up on Oprah today, they didn't wake up and show up on Oprah, saying goo goo gaga. No, they took the daily actions like listening to a podcast or writing in a journal that led up to that moment. And we, in our human mind, based on conditioning and culture and what is said to be important or big or small, like, oh, recording a podcast by yourself, like what I'm doing right now at an Airbnb that potentially 5, 10, 100, 1,000, a million people one day listen to versus, an Instagram, reel going viral and 10 million people seeing it, or having 50,000 or 100,000 or a million or 10 million followers. We are the ones that place judgment and value on one thing versus another. When you come to the place of that there's nothing big or small, it all has value. It is all worthy, and stop judging or assigning value to something or to yourself based on the outcome of something. Your worthiness and your identity will radically shift in ways like you never imagined. And I speak from my own experience on just that. Speaking of, number three, how can you pivot and your priorities with people and profits? So now that you've reflected on gratitude, now that you see your progress, now I invite you to look at, okay, what isn't working for you? For me right now, that's community. For me right now, that's finances. So I'm inviting myself to continuously pivot. Like I talked about in my last episode, I reprioritize to focus on priority projects more and more and more in July and August and September, to align to people and profits, to stay in persistence, to push with prayer and priorities, to pray until something happens. So I invite you to pivot with your own priorities and assess, where are you playing small? Where are you, quote unquote, being busy with activities that aren't bringing you impact? For example, are you spending tons of time on social media and sharing tons of Instagram reels and they are not bringing you any type of result? I invite you to consider to shift your impact to submitting proposals via platforms like Indeed, like platforms via Dynamite Jobs, to brands that can bring you 7K, 12K plus a month. And then create reels from a space of overflow once you've submitted those proposals, received those interviews, received those contracts and those projects. That's the way that I started radically shifting earlier this year. Number four, what will you do to shift your time? I talked a lot about this in my time tracking in my last episode on Creator Confessions, and also on recent episodes. If you dive deep into the incredibly binge-worthy podcast that I've created and co-created on time tracking, because I've radically focused on time tracking from the inside out and how I am investing my time in 2023. So Share with me on social at Katrina Julia Fit, at Fit Life Creation. Leave a review on the show. Leave your Instagram handle, your website, so I can shout you out. If you haven't yet, in the bit.ly, in the show notes, look at my 75 plus tools to create it like a boss, my 30-day challenge, the community and retreats. And you guys, the actions we take are like compound interest in our money. If you use a compound interest calculator for money, that if you deposit $50, $100, $1,000 a month with compound interest over time, the result is astonishing, even though you might not see it. Or taking the activity of putting in a penny every single day and compounding that interest for 30 days. Google that Google that calculator. I was thinking of a word that was CAL, calculator. It will radically blow your mind. It adds up and multiplies over time from the unseen to the seen realm. When a plant is planted and the seeds that develop, the cultivation that develops in the dark over time before you see anything on the surface, that is exactly what life is like. That is why the consistency and the discipline and the faith, all put together, all watered with faith, with feeling, with focus, with a divine discipline, is so important. So I went a little bit over in 7 minutes on the 7-minute snapshot, so forgive me. And as always, remember, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to. All the chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business you already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagements. Let's create it.